Hello, and welcome to another episode of Product and Cake. Today, as always, in the virtual recording studio is Paul. How you doing, Paul?
I am doing great because did you recognize that our virtual recording studio slightly changed?
Yeah, they got an update, huh?
They got an update. It's exciting.
New decoration.
How are you, Gonche?
I'm really good. There was a couple of days break, and with the break came a lot of chocolate. I love chocolate. Amazing. But beside that amazing, we also have another guest today. We have Marcelo with us today. How you doing, Marcelo?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, folks.
Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
It is so fantastic, and I was really waiting, Gonche, for a comment because now you're recording a podcast with two published authors. Because Marcelo is author and founder of the PRFAQ Labs, the book, and we will dive into a lot of product ways of working, I assume, because not only the book is on your plate, you also were director of product and tech at Amazon. You have plenty of startup founding experiences. So you worked as a CTO, CPO, you worked with Techstars for over 7 years. So we are very glad and thankful that we have so much knowledge here with us in our studio. But before we dive into that, let us go with the good old check-in question. And Marcelo, I would like to ask you, what are some things that you have realized you don't need?
Okay, that's a good question. Some things I realize I don't need. I assume I don't need in my professional work or in my product career, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, as you like. These check-in questions can be answered. Whatever pops up in your head is a good answer.
I think I don't need to create plans that are longer than 18 months because everything is so unpredictable that when you try to do anything that is longer than 18 months, it's basically useless. You're just wasting cycles and wasting time. And 18 is like the edge of it. Most plans are good for 12 months. After that, you have to replan anyway because you don't know the results that you're going to get from what you built.
Interesting. That's a very good answer.
What about you, Gonche?
I love the question. I understood it a little bit differently. I understood it a little bit more in the materialistic world kind of thing. And besides a very few things in life, I think I don't need anything. I need access to those things, but I don't need to own them. Like, I don't need to own a coffee machine. I need easy access to coffee. So, and that's, since it was the easiest way to access coffee, I now own a coffee machine. But for things like, I don't know, a car, I don't need a car. I need access to a car. So there are things like miles, or there are services like Uber. So you can just rent a car, borrow the car. So yeah, I don't really need many things.
Maybe you also want to lease a car and
Exactly.
mobility something. You need
How about you,
to
Paul?
know that you need to know that Gonche is working at the biggest classifieds car market in Germany. That's where we met back in the years, and we worked both on this business exploration team that should find a way from ownership to, what did we call it? Usership. Awesome, yes. That's why this answer, I like it. Took a while, Gonche, but good one.
Exactly. How about you, Paul? What did you realize you don't need?
I realized I don't need to buy more books because I have so many books, and I just bought 2 more and put them on the pile of books to read. And I realized, okay, now stop a while and really read them. Because also your book is on that list, on that pile. It's digital, but still there, about the PRFAQ. And I'm super curious to dive into that one today.
Yeah, so let's start with a little bit of an easier question to also ease all the listeners in. Marcelo, for those who don't know you, how would you explain your job and what you're doing with PRFAQ in one sentence?
Yeah, I just wrote the book and I published a couple months ago, but I am really a tech innovator. Like I love product, I love engineering, I love UX. I love using software to help people achieve more with their lives, both professionally and personally. And I've worked in tech for over 25 years, both Microsoft and Amazon, almost 20 years doing startups, both in US and Europe. And I'm really passionate about that space. That's why I wrote the book, because I think it's going to help lots of product leaders, lots of founders, lots of innovators better shape their idea so that they have a higher chance of success. Because you never know if something is going to work or not, right? But you can eliminate some of the most egregious problems, most obvious problems from what you're trying to build.
But right now it is more like a book, exactly, because you build also a startup around that book, or how can I understand that?
Yeah, the startup is just an umbrella to provide all the things that go around with the book, right? So I'm doing book, I'm doing workshop, I'm writing content, and creating a newsletter. And hopefully there's going to be some tech there as well. I've been playing with AI, and let's see if we can build something to help people put the book in practice.
Yeah, awesome. Because I also received already a lot of emails, like a user flow that dips me into the multiple topics and adding multiple aspects. That's interesting. Are you doing it currently all alone, or are you working already in a small team?
Well, I'm a team of one, but I have many people that work with me to like create content or do design or some other aspects of the promotion here, right? But mostly I do all the writing myself. I do all the publishing and all the creation.
Nice. That's amazing. And I want to learn a little bit more how you ended up here. What's the idea behind it? How come you started writing the book?
Yeah, so I've been a founder for a long time, right? I founded many startups and work on many startups. And one thing that startups always struggle is to have a clear vision and strategy, right? Actually, any company, any product have this problem. Startup are not unique in that sense, right? And when I joined Amazon 3 years ago to lead a very large team, I learned about the PRFAQ framework, which was invented by Amazon 20 years ago. And everything that Amazon does requires a PRFAQ, which is a 6-page document that explains the first page is a press release, as if the product had already launched, like today we are launching this product that does blah, blah, blah. But you haven't done anything, right? It's just like you're painting a picture of what the future could look like. And then you have 5 pages of frequently asked questions, which are the FAQs, and that answer questions about the strategy, the viability, the feasibility, what we know, what we don't know, customer problem, market, all that kind of stuff. And people use that document as the central piece to debate the idea. Should we pursue this? Should we not pursue this opportunity? Is it worth it? Is it bigger than we thought? Is it smaller than we thought? Is it a problem that is growing or shrinking? And everyone at Amazon uses this framework. So when I joined, I was like really excited about it. I was like, wow, this is so good. Like as a founder, I never had a tool like this, right? And it's so simple, yet so powerful. So when I left Amazon, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a book about it. So more product leaders and more innovators and more founders can learn about it and use in their own work. So they make fewer mistakes.
Is it intended to compare this initial press release then after launching with the real press release in the end? Something like
Not really.
retrospective?
Not really. So the real press release is a marketing tool, right? Even customer FAQs are like website tools. Like the PR FAQ is a strategy decision tool. You do early on, and you don't update later so you can release the product and make an announcement based on it. It's just like, let's use this to understand if the outcome we are going after is the right one. And then you work backwards from that outcome and say like what we would need to do to achieve that, right? That date, that initiative, that goal, the solution, like what does it take to get there?
And you already mentioned that as a founder, this was something that you were missing. I want to ask what would happen if the book would disappear and this framework would disappear? What do you think the major issues and challenges would be coming up out of that? And how else would people solve the same problem?
That's a great question, right? So let's talk about how it was for me before I knew about the PRFAQ, right? So the tools that a lot of product leaders and founders use today are things like business plans or business model canvas or OKRs, or, SWOT analysis, or they create a pitch deck with like 10 slides that tell what they're trying to do. Like all these tools work in certain contexts, but not others, right? So if you think about OKR, I really like OKR. I think it's a great tool, but it's not a strategy tool. Like you're not going to capture the strategy or even the vision on OKR, right? It's a few sentences describing like the objectives and the key results that you're going after. There is not enough there for teams to feel aligned. So I can give you an example. Like you have 2 or 3 teams in your organization and they create their OKRs, right? And like they assume that other teams understand what they meant by their OKRs. And then everyone starts building. And then all the problems start to arise. Like, wait a second, I didn't know this is what you meant when you said a user property. I thought you meant this, right? So all these problems start to pile up and you end up with lots of meetings, lots of email exchanges, or Slack messages back and forth. That is a lack of strategy early on, right? If you had a clear strategy, then you can have your OKRs and team can work independently and fast.
So the PRFAQ would be maybe the initial seed, and then I can sit together with the product tech team and say, okay, please build now, or this is our objectives, and now come up with the key results we can achieve.
Yes, it's the first step on any project should be a PRFAQ, right? And actually, I say is the step 0 is before you even start a project. You write the PRFAQ, you spend a couple weeks on it. And then you decide, should we pursue this project or not? Because based on the information that you were able to collect on the PRFAQ, you should evaluate the opportunity, right? And maybe you have multiple opportunities on your hand. So it's not a prioritization tool, but you should use to decide, like, should we commit to the next 3, 6, 9 months to do this thing, right? Is it really worth it? And then once you have the PRFAQ and you have a go-ahead decision, you might have a no-go decision, or you might have a go-ahead decision. Then you start on your PRDs, on your roadmaps, on your OKRs, like the typical stuff that you do when you start a new product or project.
I really like that because it also includes some kind of emotions, right? And some joy and I can read it usually from a press release and I'm excited about that, right? And I can say, nice, this is what I signed for. Let's find a way on how to do it. You are working with that already quite a while. What's a misconception people have about PRFAQs?
Yeah, I think the 2 most common misconceptions is, one, it's a marketing tool because it has the press release on it. And it's not written by my marketing team. It's usually written by a product manager or, an executive or whoever is leading the project, right? But not the marketing team, for sure. That's one misconception. The second one is sometimes people think it's a plan. Like we have to think about all the features, all the stories, like the roadmap. No, it's none of that, right? You're just like telling the story from the user perspective. And then from the business perspective, you're saying like, why are we doing this? Like you're answering the outcome question and like the why behind it. And the why can be, because we want to make more money. That's not a good why, right? Like you need something between that and just like some technical whys. Like we're doing this because we need to replace our technology. That's also not good, right? Like why you want to replace that technology, what, value is going to unlock for the business or for the customer that would justify that. So it's neither side of the spectrum, and it's not really a plan, right? It's just like a vision plus strategy. And a strategy is a bunch of choices that you make, right? About your product. For example, are we going to launch on Android only or Android and iOS and web, right? That's part of the strategy. Like you don't need to talk about the technology that you're going to use to build on the web or on Android or on iOS. But deciding how you're going to launch is very important, right? So that's an element of strategy. Another element of strategy is like pricing or like how you find customers, right? The partnerships and the deals that you need to make for this to happen or the data that you need to acquire. So all those are like strategies, like they're fundamental to how the product is going to work.
Yeah, I really like it. A few episodes ago, we also discussed the topic of product briefs, and I think this goes very similar to product briefs. Both views start from
Yes.
an opportunity that you see and how you can answer to that opportunity, how you can resolve the issue, and also, what are the benefits for the user, for the business? What are the benefits for the customer? And also create a business case attached to it. So I really am a big fan of writing things down and documentation. I've said it multiple times on the podcast. But I want to understand, what's the biggest challenge that you're tackling right now?
Biggest challenge that I'm tackling right now would be promoting the book.
Yeah.
So it's, and I think there is a lesson here in terms of product, right? It's not only building the product, you have to find the customers that want your product, right? Assuming that you did research ahead of time, knowing that customers do have that problem. And in my case, what I did was understanding how people today are thinking about, strategy and vision setting before they go ahead and build things. So I researched with lots of product managers, lots of founders, asked those questions. So I know the problem exists. Now, the hard part really is like how you help these customers find you, right? Find what you build. So I think that's a key element that a lot of product managers miss on when they're writing their PRDs and PRFAQs and other documents, but it needs to be incorporated there.
Yeah. So if we take a look at a book as a product, did you write a PRFAQ before starting writing the book?
Bingo, I did. I wrote a PRFAQ.
Nice.
And the interesting thing about writing a PRFAQ that I didn't mention yet is writing is a thinking mechanism, right? Like when you're writing, you're thinking and you are like digesting and you're considering things and you're ignoring other things. So I don't say to people like, well, don't use AI, but I do say don't use AI for the writing part, right? Like you are the one that want to do the writing because otherwise you're not going to think through everything, right? And that applies mostly to strategic decisions. If it is just a tactical writing, like if you're writing a resume, I'll say like, yeah, go for AI. Like AI is going to do a really good job of like writing a resume because it's a very tactical document. Right. But every time there's vision and strategy on it, you probably want to do the writing or at least the writing of the part that is vision and strategy. Right. So if you have a PRD that you need to break into user stories, like maybe you write the first page of the PRD where you capture the vision and the idea and everything else. And then the more tactical stuff, you can have AI help you with that.
I just read your recent newsletter where you discussed a similar topic, and it really resonates with me, where you wrote, what is easier for you? Write 6 pages and pitch that to your CEO, or read 6 pages and pitch that idea to the CEO? And it's so obvious that in general, with that world of overcrowded information, it is so difficult to really read them, incorporate them, understand them, and then pitch them as your own idea. You are missing what you said, right? The thinking process and really deep work was that.
The really hard thing with AI is that it writes very convincing documents, right? And it's really hard for you to challenge the logic on the document. But sometimes it is wrong. You just don't have the knowledge to prove that it's wrong. So you are misled by AI. That's basically what I'm saying. Like AI is really good at arguing their own case.
Yeah, or it is just very generic, right? It sounds so perfect, but when you are in front of your CEO and she's asking you questions, and then suddenly you realize, oh my gosh, all these beautiful sentences give me no
Yes, that's
answer
right.
on
They're
that
empty.
specific questions.
Yes.
Anyway, the AI is here to stay, and we all need to work with it, obviously. How is AI shaping your role? So first of all, maybe let me split that in two parts. First part would be, how much AI did you use to write your book? And the second one, how do you incorporate AI tools now in marketing your book and in your day-to-day activities?
Yeah, what I wrote on the latest newsletter that you just read, and I don't know when this episode is going to go to the air, so people can go to the book's website and find the articles that I wrote about it. I love using AI to do research, brainstorming, discovery, help me bounce ideas. That is very valuable. It's like the equivalent of like going to Google, like searching, click on the first 3 links, reading that content, trying to understand. AI is much more efficient at doing that, right? So I love AI on that aspect. The other aspect is I always ask AI to review my content, to critique my work, to critique my PRFAQ. It's really good. People don't know how good AI is at creating that. And it's not only the grammar or the English or the style that AI is good at. AI is good at finding logic flaws on your statements. It says, wait a second, on this paragraph you said this, but on that paragraph you said that. These two things don't go together. So go like, oh yeah, I made a mistake here. I need to correct. So AI works like a really good editor, bouncing ideas with you. In the book, I didn't use AI to write the book at all. Not a single sentence in the book was written by AI. And I wanted to do that on purpose, because I wanted to think through everything that went into the book, right? And understand the consequences of what I was writing. So if AI had done some of the writing, I wouldn't have produced a book as good as the one that I did.
Yeah, that resonates with me. I also love this AI sparring partner, right? And most likely also writing this PRFAQ and then throw it in the AI and give it the instruction to be a super critical CEO, for example, and give me 10 super harsh questions. Put on the gloves and give it to me. You can really push the AI forward, and then you will get harsh questions. It is good to think about them.
Yeah, that's a great use case, right? Like every product manager should write their documents, upload to an AI and say like, as a peer or as an engineer or as a designer or as an executive, like, what am I missing here? Like, what would they ask me about this document or this? So you refine your work much better, and you don't have to, present something that you had a blind spot on, right? AI is going to help you find different angles that you weren't thinking about.
Yeah. So you worked already in a lot of different product teams, and you have also all the startup experience. What would you say is an overrated versus an underrated way AI is used in product management?
Yeah, I think the underrated one is the critique, right? Like people don't use it enough to help them think through problems. So basically, like you're defining the problem, you're defining the solution, but then you go to AI and say like, what am I getting wrong here? Like critique my work. And I actually say the prompt is this, like critique this document, right? That's the most basic prompt that you can have. If you want to be more specific, you can say like, as a UX designer, what am I missing on this document? Or like critique my work. Like I'm going to present this to UX design team. Like I want to make sure that I cover certain bases here. Like what am I missing? AI is fantastic at that. And it has got so much better over the last 6 months as well. One thing that I think people might overuse AI is to help AI find an answer without giving options, right? So I would say, instead of saying AI, like, how do I solve this problem? Ask AI, give me 5 different solutions for this problem. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to bounce ideas out of AI, and like you want to find the solution. You don't want AI to propose a solution. So even on technical things, recently I've been playing with a lot of technology. I go to AI and say, like, what are 5 ways that I could implement this feature? Right? And AI is really good. It come up with 5 different ways. And then I realized, oh, there is a 6th way that AI didn't think about that I think is even better. But I only learned about that because I saw those 5 that AI proposed.
That's a really interesting way of using it. I really like that, and I think right now we are learning a lot on how to start writing the PRFAQs, how to use AI from you, and I want to learn something more. What's one thing you wish you had learned earlier in your career?
In the context of the PRFAQ?
Anything. So you, as Marcelo, what's one thing you wish you had learned earlier in your career?
I think I knew, but I think I didn't know how important understanding people, behavior, and psychology is. If you are a manager, if you are a product manager, if you are an executive, because at the end of the day, we work with people, we buy from people, we sell to people, right? So everything is around about people. So really understanding what motivates people, what creates incentive, what creates drag, so they don't feel energized to do certain things, and how you can help remove that obstacle from them. That is very valuable.
Yeah, that also took me a while to understand that not everybody is jumping into this product tech thing and is saying, nice, we can do everything, and is somehow intrinsic motivated on that level, right? A lot of different levels, and that is fine because we are all different. We have all different problems, wide variety of things. Also, looking back at your career and maybe on your experience right now, what's a strong product opinion you have that not everyone agrees with?
I'm going to say a strong opinion about product managers, not necessarily about product, which is in many organizations, many product managers are not product managers. They are project managers. They're just converting one document into user stories. And these people are going to be in trouble because AI is going to be really good at doing their job, right? A good product manager really understands the customer better than the customer understands themselves, right? And that's what you should be aiming for. It doesn't matter if you're a junior, senior, or like a VP. Like, your job is to really understand the customer and how the company that you're working for can deliver value for that customer, right? And so you have to think strategically. You have to have vision. You have to be creative. These are things that are harder for an AI to replace you. You can be a buddy that you're going to work with. But if all that you're doing is like project managing a feature launch, converting, whatever document you receive, a PRD or a PRFAQ into user stories, and then making sure that the engineering team and the UX team and the data team are delivering on that, you're not doing a product manager job.
Yeah, very true. And we have an episode about the differences between a project and a product manager. So maybe every listener want to step back into that one. And yeah, I agree with that. And that is also a great transition into our next section. Goncha will kick us in, right?
Yes. We play a game at the end of each episode. And it's just a game to understand a little bit your opinion on some product dilemmas. So I will share some sentences, some statements, and you can say yay or nay. You either agree with that statement or don't agree with that statement. And then afterwards, we can discuss the reasoning behind it a little bit better, a bit more in detail. But the idea is to go through these questions.
Okay.
Quickly. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So, the leadership team suggests skipping user research for a new product because the team already knows the users well.
It's only yay or nay. Can I say depends?
in product world, everything is we say everything depends. So yeah,
okay.
let's
I'm gonna
just
say
go
yay.
yay or nay.
I'm gonna say yay
right.
for that one.
All right. Any reason why?
Yes. I'm not going to say all leadership teams are like that, but often leadership teams have access to information that they either forget or they haven't done a good job at explaining to the rest of the team why they want that to be done. And it's also not atypical for a leadership team to be the most experienced group of people in an organization. In some organizations, they are terrible. Like they shouldn't be on that role. But in many organizations, they are very good, right? They have done it many times. So they have an intuition that is really, really good. And if they are saying to skip user research, they probably have a good reason behind it. Not only that they understand an aspect of the customer that is not obvious for the rest of the team, but also they understand some other urgency related to the business that they are saying to skip. So if you receive that mandate, I would say ask why. Not to challenge, but to understand.
Interesting.
I would also say yay, especially because of two things. One is you mentioned already, Marcelo, the product versus project manager. You don't want to be the guy who's just taking orders and then deliver on that. You need to build somehow a very good gut feeling of what your customers wants to have. And then depending also obviously on your engineering team, but with AI in place for rapid prototype developing, the cost of building stuff is just not that high anymore, right? And it will get lower and lower. So maybe you can rethink the way of user research when you don't need to invest month over month of engineering power.
All right. I see it slightly differently. So I think depends what we consider a user research. I would say I agree with Marcelo that you ask why. I am very rarely taking things without a proper explanation. So because of that, I would say nay here. But yeah, that's the only reason. I think they need to do a better job in communication if they have other reasons. But we go to the next statement. Every new feature should require a detailed business case before development starts.
Yay.
I agree. Yeah, I think with also PRFAQ and what we've discussed so far, we all agree that you need a reasoning behind building things to prioritize, to understand what's behind it.
I've been a CTO, CPO, and director for the last 20 years. And I tell everyone on my team, even the most junior engineer, like, don't do anything. Don't build anything. Don't design anything. Don't do any project if you don't understand why you're doing it. You don't have to agree with it, but you need to understand why.
Yeah, I fully agree. All right, last but not least. All features should be released with the minimum viable product quality to speed up time to market.
Nay. Well, because you said the word all there. That's why I'm challenging, right? There are many, many features that actually, if you're familiar with the Kano model, it's a way to put features in 3 different buckets. And one of those buckets is called the performance features, are features that users really value. It's why they're buying your product, right? And the better the feature, the happier the user. But there are many features on the Kano model that, and I forgot what is they call it, is that they just need to be there, right? Like users just expect it to be there. If it is not there, users cannot use the product, but they don't expect anything fancy from it, right? So if you imagine like you're writing a word processor tool, right? Like you want a button that says save, but users not going to be excited about you having save there. So there are different levels of features that require different investments. And some are just like basic, just do it.
Yeah, I fully agree. Also, sometimes due to the certain level of expectation of users have from a specific product, such as Amazon, such as Mobile, there is already a level of quality that the users expect that not for everything you can speed up the go-to-market and just release an MVP.
Yeah.
But especially on that scale, you have hopefully a good way to deliver to only a portion of your traffic. And I saw a lot of teams dying in beauty when we talk about save. Then, okay, should it save on my disk or in the cloud? Do I need to connect to all cloud providers? Oh, there's one API I can connect to that one and then to 3,000 cloud storage services out there. And I would definitely argue for, okay, let's go with save on disk first. And or
but you
maybe
have
on
to
Google.
understand what benefit is the user trying to get out of it, right? If the benefit is that you sync with the cloud, then you have to have it, right? If that's not why they are using, I'll give a better example. Maybe that wasn't a good example. A better example is like payments, like entering your credit card information, right? Like people don't buy your product because they want to enter their credit card information, but you have to have a way to support credit card or other forms of payment so people can get value from your product. So you need to separate which features are people like using your product because they will benefit from it versus which features they have to use it because it's part of, like the minimum roadblock they have to go over to get the benefit.
Yeah, exactly. As you said in the Kana model, it's threshold features that are the very, very basic things that just without them, you cannot do anything. And then the performance features, then there's the excitement part.
Yeah.
And I think Nasrina Chagal, in future episodes, you will hear from her as well, created the model for something above excitement, something that brings joy to the users that we will dive in a little bit deeper in future episodes too.
Yeah.
Wow, what a nice cliffhanger here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. That were already very interesting aspects on this product management role. What is one thing, Marcelo, you are learning right now, be it work or life related?
AI. I'm really excited about AI and technology and how AI can help you code. I think products like Lovable, Replit, and others are super interesting in helping product leaders experiment with things and try things. But they are not really the tools that are going to help you build the next great technology companies, right? So I'm trying to understand like what goes where. I have a little bit of a controversial take. If you hear some people talking about AI, if you ask software engineers, they're going to tell you, I need fewer product managers and fewer designers now. If you ask a designer, they say, I need fewer engineers and fewer product managers now. And if you ask a product manager, they say, I need fewer engineers and fewer designers now because I can do more, right? So I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a lot more done, right? It's not like we have a shortage of things on the backlog. And I think the dynamic is going to change quite a bit. Like if you have an engineer that is 3 times more productive, you're probably going to have a product manager that can work with the engineer and produce 3 times more, right? So the engineer can take that work. So I'm not super worried that one of these roles is going to go away, but I think the dynamic is going to change dramatically of how things get done. And the expectations also going to change dramatically. Like when I got started with design before Figma, with startups, right? Before Figma, like it was a hassle because designers would do their work on Illustrator or Photoshop, and then they would work with an engineer to slice it. People don't even talk about that anymore, but like you had to get these small pieces of images and then build the CSS. It was a hassle, right? And then Figma and CSS3 came and made everything much better. And we don't talk about that anymore. I think there are things that we're not going to talk about anymore exactly because AI is going to replace how we did things. So 10 years from now, it's going to be a whole new world.
I think that's a very great comparison. I really enjoy that. And Thank you so much, Marcelo, for joining us on this episode of Product and Cake podcast. We've learned definitely a lot from you. I'm sure the listeners as well. Where can people find you, and how can people get their hands on the PRFAQ book?
Yeah, the easiest way to find the book is to go to the book website. So you can search Google for PRFAQ book, and is probably going to be the number one result, or you go to www.theprfaq.com. And from there, you're going to find a page that you can find where to buy the book on your country. I also have newsletter, articles, examples of PRFAQs that you can download and read. Or people can go directly to Amazon as well. And from the book website, you can find all my contact information, like LinkedIn, social media, email address, and everything else.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And yes, please head out to the PRFAQbook.com. Is that correct? Did I say it correctly?
ThePRFAQ.com. No book.
No book.
The
Okay.
PRFAQ.
PRFAQ.com. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Marcelo.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you
thank you,
a
folks.
lot. It was very enlightening. Thank you very much. And I really want to encourage everybody to start writing a PRFAQ for your next project or for your next startup or even for your next lovable project. Because when you start vibe coding, it is so wise to have a very good idea of what you are building. And this is the perfect tool to help you with.
Yeah, and by the way, you can upload the PRFAQ to Lovable, to any other AI too, and say like, that's the product that I want to build. Let's build it together.
Nice. Yeah, awesome. So we all head over to the AI now and to your book. Thank you very much, Marcelo, again for being here with us, and have a beautiful day.
Please make sure to subscribe to all of the things that you can subscribe to for the Product and Cake podcast, and share with anyone who knows about product management, want to be a product manager. Just do something nice. Thank you. Bye.